Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Staggering Giant. Leave your dogs, your king, and your sword at the door. Welcome in. Tonight, I'm going to be doing a brief look over last week's campaign, which went surprisingly well. I would say surprisingly. Why is that? Why am I so surprised? I guess because I'm only getting used to this streaming and stuff, so it's all kind of new to me. I hope everybody can hear me. So I'll be having a look over that, and then a brief look at the beginnings of the map for Jellic City, and that's going to be an insight into how I do maps in the first place. And as well as that, I'm going to have a look over. I've been looking on the internet for information about a 5th edition Defiler, and I don't think that there's anything out there that quite met my needs, so I decided to have another go myself at having a Defiler class of my own. And just a quick look over, it's very early stages, and it comes with a couple of options into how to play it. So, to begin with, let me go and we'll have a look at this city. Welcome to Jellic. This is very much a beginner's overview of what the city looks like, and as you can see, it's there's a few buildings here in the middle at the moment. I've got some open space here, a river. What was formerly a river, but will eventually become a silted gorge that sits around the bottom of the city. This region that I have highlighted at the top is going to be the ruins of the city. That's where those buildings are. There's a bit of a space there, as you can see, down to that area here, that will eventually become the new city, or as some people have called it on the internet, the living city. I quite like that. We have an idea of a living city in one part, and a dead city, a ruined city up above. That also feeds into anybody who's been here before, the factions within my world, one of which is the Woods Below faction that the players were actually introduced to briefly last week. Also kind of undead. The open market, one of the things about Jellic across the internet is that the city is a kind of a focal point for tribes who want to come trading. So the open market is going to be this part down here, with this area being a kind of a shopping area, shopkeepers area. This area, and perhaps this as well, would have been the old ports of the city, back when it had rivers, way back in the day. So small changes to be made. I want to get a bridge in here somewhere. There's going to be another bridge out here somewhere, and perhaps a final one somewhere in this area of the city, going in and out of the ruins as well. And that will be a heavily guarded area. This is an interesting patch, isn't it? This is just a relic I left over from how I gather my maps. Basically what I do, when I fully zoom out here, you'll probably be able to see, there's a little leftover from my process. Basically I find an area on Google Maps that's kind of interesting. I came across this one completely by accident when I was looking up something else and took a screenshot of it. And I generally use that as a basis on which I'll build a map. So as you can see, I'm using the outlines of these rough areas that are trees on Google Maps, and I use those as a basic area to put the buildings into. So the buildings are going to fill up these dark spaces in the map. Then once I've highlighted those and made them obvious, and I've picked up all the features that I need from the background map, I can get rid of the background entirely. when that's gone, I'm just left with my own map, my own features for it, presumably, well, I hope it's reasonably obvious that down around the edge, along the edges of the river, because it's a gorge, there's going to be cliff faces there. Those will highlight the areas that are currently, how would you describe them, just edge spaces, empty spaces. Other features that show up in maps that can be quite nice. Just zoom in here a little bit. I wish I could capture this and turn it into a silt texture that I could use in the empty river space there. I think that would make a lovely texture for the silt-filled gorge, but I don't know, maybe I'll be able to figure out a way to do that. Some combination of colours that would make that a useful filler for those empty spaces. So now you know the process, and now you know how I cheat when I'm putting my maps together. It's not too much of a cheat, but it works for me. Let's be said, it works surprisingly well for me. And as I develop more, I'll build up the city, highlight it more, and I'll give more updates as time is going on. The next area I want to focus on in the city is, of course, going to be down here, where the players are currently spending quite a bit of their time discovering family secrets. So over the next while I will be filling in that area with buildings. Now, for my next trick, my roads below is underneath that, and that's going to be very much a, how would you put it, it's going to be very much a I had a brain there a second ago that was working. Yeah, it's going to be an area full of a kind of a sentient undead race. For anybody who's been watching the stream, sorry, lost the plot there for a second. For anybody who's been watching the stream, Roads Below is an area under the city. Players haven't been there yet, so I don't want to go into too much detail about what's in it. But as the players have now discovered, there's a race of sentient undead, sort of, living in Roads Below under the city. Now, Roads Below is one of the major factions in the city and in the region in general, but I'm hoping that the players will get a little bit invested in what's going on there. Part of it does tie into Rebecca's character, who is very much a noble who feels that their position is, the purpose of their position is to help others. So as the players discovered last week, and you can watch this on the Thread Raiders channel, the video on VOD is still there, and will eventually go up onto YouTube. It may be there already, I must get a link. They've discovered that there's a slave train being run out of the city, and that slaves are being liberated from the city and taken out. And as Rebecca discovered, her character Thea's father is involved in this slave train, so she's very proud of him at the moment. And why wouldn't she be? Anyway, as I mentioned at the start, I'm looking at the possibility of having a defiler. Defilers are magicians of Athos who, despite the knowledge that magic can cause harm to the environment of the world, they don't restrict their magic use. They don't try to preserve what little life is left on the planet. They're only interested in achieving power and what they can get out of that. Now that means that as magic is cast using defilement, it destroys part of the land. It destroys the life force in the land. Two ways to look at this. Initially, being a defiler meant that you were a wizard, and I did look at defiler as an arcane tradition. When an arcane defiler wizard uses magic, they destroy part of the land, and depending on what type of land they're standing in at the time, that can be quite a large area. So a first level spell cast on barren land, like lakes or flats, stony barrens, sandy desert, as you can see at the bottom of the page there, a 30-foot diameter area is destroyed, and that increases as the spell goes up to 90 feet diameter area for a 9th level spell. If there's more life force in an area, then less of the area is damaged. So you can see it gets down to 3 feet for a forest, to 9 feet for a 9th level spell. That's because in an area where there is a lot of life force, it doesn't do as much harm to draw some of it out of that area. Now, preservers don't do this kind of damage, and that's fine. They've discovered ways to contain their magic so that as they're taking the life force out of the ground, they're using the magic itself to feed as much life force as possible back into the ground. So preservers don't do the harm that defilers do. As you can see, the more spells cast while standing in one area, the bigger the damage gets. Main radius up to the equivalent for a spell, and then you'd add an extra 1 foot for every spell level below that that's being cast. Some examples there, that if you were to cast a 4th level spell and then cast a 3rd level spell in the same area, the area would only expand by 8 feet. But if you then cast an 8th level spell, the damage will go out to the maximum for 8th level, plus the 4 and the 3 that you've already cast. So that could get us to a situation where the radius doesn't expand that much for a higher level spell if you've already cast a few lower level spells. Still lots of damage to be done, you're still taking the remaining life force out of the world, and that's not good. Now, you get features, and the whole purpose of being a defiler is that you have power. You want power. That's why you're defiling the earth. It's all about being in control and being as powerful as you can be. So as you're casting spells, you can build a weave of magic around yourself. Once you've built up a weave, this starts at 2nd level. Once you've built up a weave, you can use that weave to create spell slots in the same way as a sorcerer would. These spell slots cost the same as the ones for a sorcerer, and of course, like a sorcerer, the maximum spell level you can cast is 5th level. Now, because that's quite a generous feature, the wizard doesn't get anything else at 2nd feature or at 2nd level. That's quite enough to get along with. The only reason I give it as such a powerful feature is because the defilement itself is a danger. It makes you a target, and it is, I consider it a cost anyway. I very much doubt if there will be a lot of good aligned defilers in the world. Would you? 6th level, we step things up. You have generous weave, and you can use that weave for the benefit of others. So if there's another arcane spellcaster within range of you, within 30 feet, you can use that to allow them to regenerate a spell slot. So normally a 2nd level spell slot costs 3 weave points to regenerate. You would have to spend 4 points in order to be able to generate a spell slot for another spellcaster. The bountiful weave adds your intelligence modifier and your proficiency bonus to your weave limit. When you get the weave at 2nd level, the size of the weave is limited to, whoops, I have completely overshot, is half your level rounded down plus 1. Sounds weird, but it's making sure you're starting with 2 points at the 2nd level so that you can at least regenerate a 1st level spell slot. You can add your intelligence modifier and your proficiency bonus at 10th level. So that would be half your 10th level, 5, plus 1, 6, plus your intelligence modifier, which at 10th level could easily be a plus 4. That's 10 points, and your proficiency bonus, which at 10th level is still plus 3. Ooh, I should have checked. So potentially 13 points in the weave. That's a lot to be working. At 14th level, the weave takes on a new condition, and it becomes a warding weave. You can use it to attempt to absorb spells that are being used. Caster must make a saving throw against your spell save DC plus the spell level. Or, sorry, your spell save DC or 10 plus the spell level, whichever is the lower. Your weave grows, you absorb that magic into your weave, which means that you don't have to defile the land to do that, and you can then use that to create spells. Now, as the note says here, the Preserver tradition means that you do not have to damage the land in order to generate weave, but you can choose any of the pre-existing arcane traditions for your wizard. Now, I'm sorry if I sound a little bit waffly tonight. I haven't had much sleep for the past few days, so I am slightly out of it. I maybe should have made that apology in advance, but I was hoping that I could maybe get away with it tonight. But unsurprisingly, with little sleep, I'm a little bit squiffy this evening. Now, there's another option. I haven't actually put that in yet, but that's focused very much on the wizard as being a defiler. But the wizard isn't the only arcane spellcaster in Dungeons & Dragons anymore, and it's probably been quite a while since they were. So I came up with an option that was similar to what the 4th edition arcane 4th edition spellcasters had in Dark Zone. The idea of it being that the wizard, the arcane spellcaster, could simply choose to defile. They didn't have to every time they cast a spell. So, what would that mean? Well, at 2nd level, if you take no other actions, including bonus actions or reactions on your turn, you can kill all non-sentient plant life within a radius of 50 feet. Now that might be a bit big, but we'll see how that will expand. The ground is treated as defiled ground, and nothing can go in the defiled area until a period of years equal to 100 divided by your level. Now I introduced this as a possibility that defilement can regenerate. I would say that the only reason Athos is still in the condition it is that the Sorcerer Kings use a lot of power, and it's unlikely that a Sorcerer King will be able to carry out the magics that they do and share that magic with Templars in their city without having to use up a lot of resources. So the Sorcerer Kings themselves are a source of the defilement on the planet. Does that mean if we could kill all the Sorcerer Kings that we could put an end to it and allow the world to regenerate? Well, maybe. In the Dark Zone books you have these Carillion Storm that's now running in the centre of the Sea of Silt, and that generates hailstorms, cold, rain that spills into the tablelands and other areas around the Sea of Silt. So it's entirely possible that the land will maybe be able to regenerate in several hundred years if the Sorcerer Kings were gone. That's a different story for a different day. But with this arcane defilement option, you can use the energy that you've taken to generate one of these effects. A number of spell slots with a combined level equal to your spellcasting ability modifier. None of the slots can be 6th level or higher. So if your intelligence modifier is +5, or if you're a bard and your charisma modifier is +5, you could regenerate up to 5 level spell slots. You can change a number of prepared spells or other spells on your class's spell list. The number of spells you can change is equal to your spellcasting ability modifier with a minimum of 1. It's unlikely that anybody would be playing a spellcaster with a 0 ability modifier or less, but always put that in there as an option just in case. You may choose one arcane spell, 5th level or lower, and of a level you can cast, and temporarily add it to your prepared spells, even if this is not a spell on your class spell list. The spell does not count as that against the number of spells prepared for the day, spell remains prepared until cast and then is gone. Only then can you use this option again. So this is like a trap. If you can only cast 3rd level spells, you could only pick a 3rd level or lower spell. You'll have that spell prepared. When you cast it, it's gone. It can only be cast at its lowest spell level. I should add that in as a note. Oops. Spell can only cast at its lowest level. Okay, I'll put that in as a note and rewrite it to Wizards standards later on. The next one, I'm not sure about. It does seem quite powerful, but you can regain 1 spell slot of 6th level or higher. This option consumes all your uses of Arcane Defiling for the day and must be the first and only option you choose for the entire day. This will be really handy in a fight against an end bad guy. The ability to take a 6th level or higher spell, that's huge. And when it gets to the point where you cast 9th level spells, even for a warlock, this is a massive undertaking that you are able to cast that more than once. This may be too much. Wizards are very careful and very specific about not giving abilities that allow you to recast 9th level spells. This is kind of a big one, and I think it may be too big, but I'll look over it. I may even play test it and see how it runs in play. If it looks like it's just too big, then it will go. Ritual Sacrifice. This definitely comes off as an evil act. With a Ritual Sacrifice, you can target a creature within 50 feet of you and attempt to suck out its life force. The creature must have enough hit dice to feel the spell level you wish to cast. The creature makes a Constitution saving throw against your spell save DC. If the creature must, oh, I must rewrite that one. The creature must have, I've already said that. If the creature has more, okay, right, sorry, I reread that. Yeah, that wasn't as bad as I thought. If the creature has more hit dice or levels than you have levels, it will have advantage on the saving throw. So a higher level creature has a better chance of resisting this creature that's a higher level than you. So you cannot turn around and target your big bad end guy and try and suck out his hit dice. Okay? On a failure, the creature loses the number of hit dice you require. Roll these and deduct the score from the creature's hit point total. And you can use the energy to perform a ritual casting. Now, when I read this, I did find myself thinking, ritual casting? Why would I do that? When with ritual casting, I don't have to do anything to do that. A ritual spell is one that I can have written in a book, and as long as I'm a ritual caster, I can cast it. So for a class that isn't automatically a ritual caster, this will be a useful feature. Otherwise, not really. It does not have to be a spell on your class spell list. That's an advantage. A ritual that a wizard can take from a cleric spell list may give them benefits. A paladin's smite. Oh no, they're not rituals, are they? But have a look at the ritual spells, see where there are advantages that can be taken. This feature I'll have to have another look at. I can see where it's useful, but I may have to give it another bit of a boost, because I think it's one of those things where if you're going to do harm to creatures around you, then you should be able to get a benefit out of it, because you're in competition with them to get this power in the first place. So that's a couple of options I've come up with. I'll look into the gory details of them. I'm not sure how either of them will play out in playtesting. Like I say, the Arcane Defilement is maybe a little bit too high powered. The Ritual Sacrifice is maybe a bit underpowered, but we'll see how it goes. If it works out in playtest, I may just stick with it as it is. Otherwise, no, maybe not. Okay, so that's the current state of play with things. I haven't done a subclass stream in a while, so I hope you found this one useful. You can see I am the Staggering Giant. I am on Twitter. You can follow me there. If you're perhaps feeling a bit generous, you can maybe throw coffee my way. I'm going to need a little help in maintaining my website in order to be able to use it as a streaming resource. If not, I may have to switch to Blogger, but we'll see how it goes. I'm hoping that I won't have to give up the website. It would be unfortunate if I did, but if anybody wants to help me out, if anybody's feeling a bit generous, go on down, have a look at the coffee page. I'm trying to keep the blog on there, and hopefully I'll see some people, hopefully I'll get some support. Thanks to everybody who's come and watched the stream this evening. Thank you for putting up my slightly tired, waffly state. I hope you've gotten something useful out of this. The stream will be back on the Thread Raiders channel, not this channel. The stream will be back on twitch.tv/threadraiders on Thursday, 9 o'clock GMT, 10 o'clock Central European, 5 PM Eastern Standard, and 2 PM Pacific. So I've got that completely wrong. It's 4 PM Eastern and 1 PM Pacific. So I hope to see you all there to join in chat. And thank you for your patronage. And goodbye.